Hey there everybody, it's Mark Curley. I'm back with another How to Draw video. Today we're going to be doing a lesson on how to draw people kissing. Of course, I've covered this topic a couple of times before, but this one's going to be a little different, maybe most notably because I'm starting with this sort of gray tone here. I'll talk a little more about how I did that later on, but let's begin with a few basic guidelines. All right, so if you want to follow along with this, you're going to want to replicate these lines. This line here is a dividing line between the two faces of the characters that are kissing, and then these two lines here, this one is for the eyes, this one's going to be for the chin eventually, and if you really want to follow exactly along, these two lines here are about 2 centimeters apart, a little less than an inch. All right, let's move on to the next guidelines. Okay, so here are the basic contour lines of the two figures. Make sure that her nose starts right here on this upper line and crosses in front of his. That's going to be one of the tricky things. I'm going to zoom in later on as we get into those details. But otherwise, do your best to sort of replicate these lines as you see them here. And sorry if I'm sort of speeding through this first part, but I want to make sure we have time for the more detailed, more challenging work that comes later on. I'm going to zoom in and add just a few more guidelines, and then we'll be ready to do some real-time drawing. Okay, so here we have the jawlines of both characters as well as the ears. Do your best to get those lines where you see them here. And now I'm going to switch to real-time drawing to take you through what is probably the most difficult part, and that is drawing the actual lips and sort of how the nose crosses in front and so forth. So I wish I could zoom in tighter than I have here, but my camera just doesn't focus any closer than this. So hopefully you can see that I'm making the line of his jaw or his chin come right up to that dividing line, that initial dividing line, maybe just a shade past it, and then it comes up like this. Now we're sort of looking up, worm's eye view almost, looking up at his chin. So we're going to see his lower lip, the curve here of his lower lip coming up, and this is where it gets tricky because at this point that same line becomes the line of her upper lip. And you may be a little unsure as to where these lines go, at which point it might be best to stop with that one and come over here to this tip of her nose, which, as I said, touches this line here. Have that cross back, sort of hook back at almost a 90-degree angle. And, you can sort of adjust these things as you go. But then it comes back out at roughly, again, another 90-degree angle. And then this line becomes the line of her upper lip. And that basically gets things where you need them to be for this classic kissing pose. Now, this line also serves to help us see where her eyelid should be. Her eye is sort of closed, as so often in the romantic scenes. The eyes must close, except when they're shocked, right? And they're surprised. She's kissing me, and then the eyes are wide open. But this is not one of those scenes, and so I'm drawing her upper eyelashes as well as a line that kind of curves back, suggesting her upper eyelid. And if you want to, you can go ahead and draw one of these sort of tender-looking eyebrows, curving up just a little bit. She's so vulnerable. This is going to be a winter scene, and I did say I was going to talk a little bit about this dot pattern here. You can pull this kind of thing off the internet if you do a Google image search for screen tones. Well, maybe you want to say high resolution screen tones. Try to find something like that. And if you've got the editing software, you can pull that in and sort of print something out, which is what I did here, so as to prepare for this effect I'm going to be doing later on. Now look at the angle of her eye and sort of follow straight up here, and that's exactly where his eye is going to go. They sort of are on a similar line. Of course, I'm not going to make his eyelashes quite as full as hers, but I'm going to get like a little line here for his upper eyelid. I don't know if that's showing up there. And also get his eyebrows in there. Maybe he also feeling vulnerable in this tender moment they've been waiting for. And that finally kind of gets us where we need things to be. Now I've got, as I said, another video that takes you through this process of drawing the face, the nose, and so forth, and also the hair and different things like that. And that's why I thought maybe this time I'm not going to go so much real time through all of the hair stuff, but I want to save some time in this video for the environment that they're in. Maybe I'll just show you a few very basic guidelines for where I intend to put her hair, and then the rest of it maybe we'll go into time-lapse. So I'm going to go ahead and put her sort of bangs coming across here. She's got a few strands of hair that hang down here by the ears, very common thing that I see in a lot of manga. And one thing I decided to do that'll be kind of fun, I hope, is to have part of her hair, she's got long hair, but I'm going to have part of her hair pulled together into a braid. And helpfully, I've got a separate video on braids, so I can sort of link to that, and so you're going to see me draw a braid here, but not she's not like ponytailed or whatever, pigtailed. It's more just like she's taken part of her very long hair and braided just a part of it, which I think is a thing. Let me know, people. Does that work? Is that something that you can do? I think so. Anyway, notice that her hair is kind of, the line is floating above that initial guideline, and what I'm going to do that's a little different from a previous video is have her hair really come in front of his a little bit at this point. And maybe that's enough on all this hair stuff, and I'm going to let you guys, if you decide to use this pose, hopefully play around and turn them into your own characters and not necessarily follow along with all of this in a line-by-line way. So keeping in that spirit, I'm going to go ahead and pull back so that we see the whole scene and maybe quickly dash in the rest of his hair and some indications of the clothing. Alright, so that's maybe an awful lot of stuff in time-lapse, but like I said, I do think that a lot of people can sort of take these basic poses and insert their own characters, change things around, different hairstyles, different clothing choices, and so forth. So anyway, we've got this basic stuff in place. I'm probably going to have the lines of her hair kind of curve back a little. This is going to be an outdoor scene, sort of a wintry scene, I thought, suitable for January. And one thing I do want to do is show you how to draw her fingers, the fingers of her hand, as she's sort of laying them upon his shoulder. So let me refocus the camera to do that part in real time. Alright, so I'm going to begin by drawing a sort of simple, vaguely triangular shape for where I intend to put her fingers. And this is something that makes this video at least a little bit different from the one that I did before that did not show this hand as part of it. But I think it adds something to the pose if you can do this. Now, I always like to begin with the longest finger, which is this second finger, not the ring finger, which is roughly the same length as the index finger. And so beginning with that first one, then I come back for both of these two, making them roughly the same. And then the pinky should really be quite a lot, substantially shorter. And you can see I even started to kind of ignore my own initial guidelines. That happens sometimes. But having got those lines in place, I'd say the main thing is to have all of the joints of the fingers sort of facing or lining up together, and then having a secondary joint that comes back like so. And that's probably all you need in terms of drawing her fingers. But yeah, I hope you'll agree that adds a little something to this pose, a little tenderness that she is putting a hand upon his shoulder, upper arm. I wish I knew the words for even the most simple parts of human anatomy. Anyway, that kind of gives us the basics of what we need for this pose. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to go ahead and ink this all in, and then we can move on to this hopefully cool little technique that will be a little reminiscent of what I did with the mermaid video using white gouache. So anyway, I'm going to pull back and let's get this inking done. Okay, so as you can see, I decided to add a little background here with some snowy trees. Actually, I think we could use one more over here. Yeah, unfortunately, this can't be a video about how to draw snowy trees, but if you would like to see such a video, let me know. Maybe next week's video, how to draw snowy trees. Anyway, it is now time to bring out the white gouache. And the white gouache is simply a white opaque paint that we can use to add highlights, and that's the whole point really of doing this gray-toned background at the beginning of the video, so that I can go ahead and add little touches of white. Now I'm going to do the first part of this real time, but after a while, I'm probably going to have to kick it into time-lapse, as so often I do. But let me show you how this works. And so you get some nice, thick white paint here, and when you go on top of that gray tone, it has this effect of almost like moonlight or something shining off of his hair. And I'd say the main trick is not so much the use of the paint as having some understanding of lighting, right? So if the light source is coming from the upper left, then say the bridge of her nose might possibly get hit with a bit of light. Basically you adhere to this the kind of physics of where light would go, right? So the back of his jacket here certainly would get hit really brightly by whatever this is, moonlight, snow light, because I am going to do falling snow at the end of this, which will make it sort of give it that final romantic touch. Our first kiss was when the snow was falling gently from the sky. Some people, I think, unsubscribed halfway through that last sentence. As I changed into that weird voice. Anyway, so this gives you the basic idea of how white gouache worked. Hopefully the effect is starting to come through even now, but it does require a little patience. I'll do one last thing here, I guess, real time before I kick it into time-lapse, before I invite old man time-lapse to come back in and help me keep my video short and watchable. But I'm going to do a little band of highlight across her hair, which will help to make her hair look nice and shiny. In fact, I may do several such bands, so the more you don't want to overdo it, but I think a female character with long hair, you can get away with sort of a secondary band down here. Band. It's a secondary band, man. I just joined up with a secondary band. That is so unfunny. Even I'm hurting from that one. Anyway, when I start going insane like that, you all know it is time for me to kick it into time-lapse and wrap up this video. But yeah, white gouache, people, if you like this effect, I definitely would advise you to give it a try. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up this illustration. All right, well, we're almost done, but of course we're not really done, are we? Are we? No, we're not really done until we add the blushies. And it is a cold winter's day, so I think we can justify the use of blushies here today. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was kind of fun to revisit this topic and to introduce this technique with the gouache. Well, not introduce it, I guess I've done that one before. But let's go ahead and wind down this video. Oh, the books! The books! I always forget the books. Hang on, I'll be right back. Can't end this video without thanking people who have supported me by getting any of my books. We got Brody's Ghost and Miki Falls, my 2 graphic novel series, as well as Mastering Manga 1 and Mastering Manga 2, available, of course, in French. Dessinez des mangas. Écoutez et répétez. That's what they used to do in my French class. You know what, Mark? No one cares about your French class, dude. So it's time to wind down this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.